Today I'm checking out The President's Man, A Line in the Sand. It's a movie that came out in the post 9/11 era and hits you with fear, politics, and some very questionable messaging. But it's also a cheesy action movie. The weird part about it is it's kind of entertaining. Shout out to Caroline Henningsen for suggesting this because this one's a ride. We're not wasting any time. Bald eagle right away. Let me guess, an American flag next? Oh my goodness. I was being sarcastic, but yeah. They show an American flag, full of patriotism, full Americana. We open with an action scene where a character named Deke, wait, really? Deke? Who thought that was cool? It sounds extra stupid to Arabic speakers because Deke or Deech in Kuwaiti dialect means rooster. Deke plants a bomb on a missile, then tries to escape by riding a motorcycle up not one, but 2 ramps. Bad guys are shooting 1,000 bullets, but can't land one on our true American Dekey boy. I wasn't expecting the close-up green shot. Chuck Norris shows up in a helicopter to save Deke. The whole time, a character named Quay, who's Norris's daughter, is on the radio giving Deke intel. Every time she does, Deke gets angry. He even complains about her to Norris when he gets in the helicopter. Norris going for the Grammy with this performance.
I think that's a smart move.
We head over to Washington, D.C. and we see the White House. Fun fact, I lived in Washington, D.C. for 6 years. We see the president taking photos with Boy Scouts members. Fun fact about the religiously tinged Boy Scouts. They had a massive sexual abuse scandal leading to a $2.46 billion bankruptcy settlement for over 92,000 claimants. We're talking about little boys being molested. The president gets a call from Quay and whoa, Saddam Hussein mentioned.
Saddam's missile storage in West Africa.
People, this movie dropped in 2002. Peak post 9/11 hysteria. Fear was high, nuance was low, and Hollywood wanted to cash in on the Muslim hate. This movie is pure opportunism, taking a real tragedy and spinning it into a neat little maybe we should go to war sales pitch. And I'm not saying George W. War Crimes Bush had this on loop in the White House, but if you told me it was playing in the background during a PowerPoint titled Why Iraq Though, I wouldn't question it. We cut to Texas University and we hear about our first evil terrorist character named Rashid, or Rashid with correct Arabic pronunciation. A student says, what is it with these Arabs anyway? I mean, Rashid is threatening the president. He's killing Americans. I say we nuke him and the countries who support him. Huh, professors? Then we see Chuck Norris is standing in the room and I wonder how old Chucky boy is going to respond to this.
We have to remember that we can't condemn all Arabs for the actions of a few. And this radical fundamentalist element makes up only a small percentage.
And wow, what Norris is saying is actually amazing. He's being reasonable and intelligent and teaching people that we shouldn't stereotype. Gee, I hope it doesn't end with saying jihad and then scary music starts playing.
It's called the jihad, the holy war.
There we go. Then it cuts straight to baseball after he says jihad. Oh my giblets, you can't make this up. Backing up to the Norris scene. Do you see the pain in Norris's eyes when he's saying reasonable things about Muslims? He'd rather be obliterated by Bruce Lee 400 times in a row than to be saying what he's saying in this movie. Did the producers force him to say it? Because we know he doesn't believe it. He's probably the biggest Zionist celebrity after Sacha Baron Cohen. Oh, by the way, I'm coming out with a video on Borat soon and it's gonna be huge, so stay tuned. Everything that he says that's reasonable is undermined because we have subtext that Muslims are evil with their jihad and holy war, and you'll lose your American pastimes like baseball, which they cut to right away if you don't do something about it. Deke hits her home run on a CGI baseball. He tells another player the key is to visualize, and it works. I'll remember that the next time I need to hit a CGI baseball. We cut to the president and he's being briefed on terror attacks around the world. What the, oh my goodness, what is this? It's so offensive that it's funny. They look like they got random guys off the street and threw wet mops on their heads. This isn't how you wrap a turban, and if they're supposed to be Saudi Arabian or Arab, why would they be wearing turbans like this anyways? It's confusing. Then they show the mastermind, Fadal Rashid, and when they show his picture, they put a person going, ah, ooh, evil Arabic chanting.
The mastermind himself, Fadal Rashid.
This is actor Joel Sweeto. He's of Jewish descent, but in an article he commented that he's an atheist and only culturally Jewish. At least he's not an Israeli Zionist like all the actors in Norris's movie The Delta Force. I did a video on that. Did you see it? Check it out after this one. His turban looks fine, but again, where is this guy supposed to be from? His name sounds Arab, but his turban looks Afghani. My guess is he's supposed to be a parallel to Osama bin Laden. He wore that turban because he wanted to portray an image of Muslim piety. You know, while he was doing terrorist actions throughout the world and making all Muslims look bad, he was an evil, horrible person. One of the men says Rashid will escalate his attacks in America unless they release his 3 top lieutenants. Interesting that they try to show what the bad guys want, because usually in these propaganda movies, they don't. They paint all Muslims as evil, like it's in their blood. The CIA director tells the president plutonium is missing that could be used to construct a nuclear weapon. And of course, Rashid has it. This was the exact narrative America was pushing to sell the invasion of Iraq. The official claim was Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. That was the headline. That was the justification. Except inspectors from the United Nations went into Iraq many times and found no such evidence of weapons of mass destruction. No stockpiles, no nukes, no smoking guns. And yet, they still invaded Iraq. That's what makes this feel less like entertainment and more like alignment. The film echoes the same fears, the same talking points, the same what-if scenarios used to make the case to the public. Because if people believe the threat is real, they won't question the response. Decades later, after the invasion of Iraq, no weapons of mass destruction have ever been found. It was all a lie to get control of the oil and keep the petrodollar in power. Every time they say Rashid, it plays the Arabic sounding in the background.
Rashid has the bomb.
That's what we're afraid of, Mr. President.
Dude, how cool would it be if every time you say an Arab sounding name, it does that? Ahmed, Hassan, Muhammad. We cut to a museum in Chicago displaying Islamic artwork relics under siege. I swear this guy is saying Kaboom Museum.
From the Kabul Museum.
Not Kabul Museum in Afghanistan. Kaboom. Okay, question. Why are the credits still rolling 12 minutes into the movie? We see the director is Chuck Norris, Chuck Norris's son, keeping Zionism alive and well in the family. They talk about how the Taliban are destroying these relics, and the reporter asks why, and the guy says it's because they think the statues may have been used as idols or deities. Sadly, this does happen all around the world. When one ruling religious party comes in and overthrows another, they typically destroy statues that they deem heretical according to their view of their religion. But correct me if I'm wrong, aren't these Buddhist statues, which I typically associate with East Asia? But after doing some research, Buddhism was a thing in Afghanistan region before the rise of Islam in the 13th century. These may have been ancient statues over 500 years old, but they look new because they're movie props and they're probably made of styrofoam. The curator thanks him and are they gonna end every scene with the Now it's getting comedic. It's like, ooh, look at these evil extreme Muslims. They destroy statues. Now we're in Dallas and geez, movies, slow down a bit. There's been like 6 location jumps in less than 13 minutes. I'm trying to follow along, but you're making it hard. Look at Norris all snug on the couch. He's probably reading Der Judenstaat by Theodore Herzl for the 100th time this year. Another location change, back to Chicago. Thieves get to the statues and they cut a hole into them and pull something out with a nuclear sign on it. They just run out into the front lawn where 40 security cameras are clearly gonna see them. The van is parked inconspicuously in the VIP concierge parking right at the front entrance. A thief pulls his mask off and we get a new Arab random noises sound effect. It is so stupid. This is actor Ali Ashfar and he was born in Iran. Why work with Norris? Why portray a terrorist? I just don't get it. Unless he's become anti-Muslim or pro-Zionist.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Oh man, I can't with this movie. Did a 7-year-old edit this? New location. We see Deke talking to a model. This is a little boy's fantasy. The all-American super soldier Alpha gets a beautiful woman as a reward for his extreme patriotism. A trope as old as time. The guy can't talk to a woman in his earpiece giving him valuable intel without him being a complete douchebag. Why would I believe a model will put up with him? We get a training scene where, get this, he has to dodge balls. Nothing more heterosexual than a shirtless buff man trying to dodge balls flying at his face.
Concentrate with your mind's eye, Deke.
Wow, I haven't seen acting like this since Al Pacino in Heat.
Here she got out. Great ass!
Feel and sense the ball coming.
Wow. The only thing that would make this perfect is if we added the Arab sound effect to it.
Feel and sense the ball coming.
Okay.
Derek is failing the test, so Norris comes out to give him a pep talk and tells him this ability could save his life? What? In what situation are you gonna be blindfolded and have to dodge hard balls shooting at your face? Of course, that gives Derek the juice he needs to dodge hard balls. But then again, it helps if the balls don't go anywhere near him. But hey, I'm not an expert super secret agent, so what do I know? Back to Chicago, and we see the thief from earlier enter an electronics store. He walked into a back room with a guy wearing used rags as a turban. This actor looks really familiar. Oh, I know who he is. This is the comedian Maz Jobrani. He does a lot of stand-up comedy and used to be part of this group called Axis of Evil. Maz's character's name is Ali or Ali. Abir is the name of the thief. He says Abir's father paid for his education, and then he comments saying the Americans are very good at training their enemies to destroy them. This leans into a broader fear-driven narrative, casting suspicion on Muslims entering the United States for education and reframing opportunity as a potential threat. He says, you've been living in America for 10 years. How did you resist the temptations? He replies saying he knew one day he'd be called upon to serve a greater good, to serve Allah. It's just so goofy. People, I want to be clear. I'm not laughing at the idea itself. There are dangerous people in the world who think like this. What I'm reacting to is the delivery, the exaggerated, almost cartoonish fear-mongering. This was written by Americans for Americans to amplify fear of Muslims. It's coded messaging. The film reduces complex political violence to they did it because Allah tells them to, as if that's a complete explanation. It's reductive and lazy. And that's what makes it so disturbing. Ali explains how the device works, and Abir says Ali's father will be pleased. And on to location number 50 in this movie. Now we're in Afghanistan. We see a man doing what looks like he's coming up from a prostration position in Muslim prayer. And right off the bat, that looks wrong. And I'm going to go into more detail about why it looks wrong a little later. A person opens the door, and this part looks right. You do what's called the taslim at the end of the prayer, where you look right and you look left while saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. But then he puts his hands up and says Allahu Akbar. And this part is off. So let me explain. That specific hand movement where you put your hands up between the rak'ah and at the end of the prayer, this is a Shi'i practice or Shia practice. It's not Sunni. Only Shi'i Muslims do this during prayer. Osama bin Laden was famously Sunni. So it's wrong. He wouldn't be praying the Shi'i way. And they still get it wrong regardless, because at the end of the prayer, a Shi'i does the hand movements and says Allahu Akbar 3 times. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. But Rashid only does it once. But this mistake makes sense because the film cast several Irani actors. Most Iranis are Shi'i, so they likely asked those actors, hey, what does this look like? And they told them how to do it the Shi'i way, but it's still wrong. The lackey is calling him Amir, which means prince or ruler. Rashid tells the lackey that he's only in year 8 of his 100-year plan. He needs to depend on his agents in America to complete the will of Allah. Then we see him in front of a ton of cameras ready to record a video. This is mirroring videos made by Osama bin Laden. He monologues about how America is corrupt, everyone there is evil, and their destruction is their own doing. You know, crazy extremist stupid crap. He demands the release of 3 hostages or an American city will be consumed in nuclear fire. This mirrors a lot of what Osama bin Laden was threatening. He said many times he would get nuclear weapons. These threats were real. This movie is dramatizing it to stir up sentiment for America's war on the Taliban they started in 2001. The longest war in American history, the war in Afghanistan, lasted 20 years. The objective? Eliminate the Taliban. 2 decades later, the United States withdraws from Afghanistan and the Taliban are back in power. About 2,400 American service members were killed during that time. Over 170,000 Afghan deaths, including civilians. Roughly $2 trillion spent, and the end result, right back where they started. Mission accomplished, America! They ruined the scary scene by doing a bunch of dramatic sound effects and cheap slow-mo on the president's face. back to Washington, D.C. Wait a minute. Didn't they just show the president in Washington, D.C.? Weird that they're putting text up on the screen now. They play a Super Nintendo animation of a bomb going off in a city, then boringly discuss their plan to find the bomb and Rashid.
The Eisenhower's on station off Kuwait.
Kuwait mentioned! Woo! Then the president says what Rashid said, knowing about his 100-year plan. But wait, how does he know Rashid has a 100-year plan? Did the president hear Rashid? He says his 100-year plan is to turn the entire planet into an Islamic empire. Islamophobia in full effect. The president gives them the go-ahead to execute the plan to capture him. They play stock footage of jets taken off of an aircraft carrier. Back to Afghanistan. Now we have a room full of people praying, and they're all doing the Shi'i prayer movements like how I pointed out earlier. The Taliban are famously Sunni, so this is off. But who cares, right? It all looks the same to the Orientalists. Accuracy goes out the window, which raises the obvious question. This came out in 2002. Was Google down that day, or did no one think to spend 5 minutes double checking? But I guess when you flatten an entire religion into one interchangeable negative stereotype, the details don't matter. Rashid is trying to give his lackey a lesson using chess as an example, talking about forcing hands. Then we get stock footage of jet planes bombing the compound. They clearly put explosion animations on top of the footage to make it look like it's blowing up. It's a huge explosion, but when they cut to the terrorists in the bunker, there's only a small amount of shaking. Rashid is waving away the mildly inconvenient dust. Ground missiles shoot at the jets, and we see a dollar store fighter jet model get blown up. We see the bad guys celebrating, and one of them makes random Arab-like noises because they think that's what all Muslims do. Rashid is handed a helmet with a scorched American flag on it, and it's implied that it was the fighter jet's helmet, but obviously it isn't because it looks like an infantry helmet. He raises it up and says, "Death to American imperialists," and everyone celebrates. Sickening. Cut back to the president in Washington, D.C. He gets the news that one pilot has died. What's he gonna do? Call in Chuck Norris's team. Quay calls in Norris and Deke. Quay tells them that Rashid wants the terrorists who bombed the World Trade Center to be freed and sent back to Afghanistan. Note that they're talking about the perpetrators of the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, not September 11th, 2001. She tells the macho American men the best case scenario is to capture Rashid, and the worst case is to terminate him. We get stock footage of an F-117 Nighthawk stealth bomber taking off. The first time this jet was ever used during war was for the Gulf War in 1991. A piece of trivia I know because I'm Kuwaiti. We get a cheesy shot of Deke's eyes closed, then he opens them with a cymbal sound effect. Wait, what? They launch him out of the jet? Okay, this looks preposterous to me, but you know what? Maybe it's legit. Is this a thing? Do they launch soldiers out of flying jets as a way to infiltrate places secretly? I don't know enough about it. But if you do, leave a comment and let me know if this is possible or safe or actually legit or just stupid. Deke lands and they play more of the when we see the Afghan base. But wait a minute, didn't they blow the base up to smithereens not 5 minutes ago? Either the American bombs were for show or the bad guys rebuilt their base in minutes. Deke infiltrates their base. People, the sound effects are so cheesy. I want to know if Chuck Norris actually does anything in this movie. Most of his shots are him looking bored as hell or phoning in lines. Derek beats up more bad guys, and there's some legit moves he's doing that are always fun to watch. Deke kicks a door down and shoots a tranquilizer shot into Rashid. Then we get this 3-second zoom in shot to his eyes. That's so silly. Deke sees the chessboard, moves a piece, then says checkmate. Okay, that's funny. We see Deke carrying what's obviously a doll with the sun behind him. Dude, no. Dude, is that a jetpack? I was thinking he was gonna use a Fulton like from Metal Gear Solid, but dang, a jetpack? He straps himself and Rashid into the jetpack, and oh my goodness, he just launches straight up into the air. Hold on a minute. We see him parachuting towards the shore? People, Afghanistan is nowhere near the Gulf of Oman. Even if he was all the way at the most southwestern tip of Afghanistan, he would need to parachute over 500 kilometers to get to the nearest shoreline. This is completely implausible. I love when movies insult our intelligence like that. We see stock footage of a submarine surface. A rescue team on a small boat meets them in the water to rescue Deke and apprehend the baddie. Back to Washington, and the president tells this guy he's not saying who got Rashid. Now we're off to a federal prison in Dallas. Seriously, does this movie have the most location changes out of any movie ever? Rashid's tied up, but hey, he's got a lawyer. See? Due process. Gold star for America, but it's pure optics. A performance of justice and not the real thing. If you want to see how Americans really treat terrorists, just look up Guantanamo Bay detention camp. Just maybe don't do it right before bed. The opposing lawyer says why he's arrested. The lawyer on Rashid's side denies it all. But then Rashid interjects and asks, what does your president want? They want to know where the nuclear device is. Rashid asks if he's going to get a fair trial, and the lawyer says yes, according to the laws of our land. This triggers Rashid, and he points out the lawyer is Muslim too, and that he betrayed his true land for an evil nation of America. The lawyer then magically excuses everyone. We get into a heated debate about who's bringing the most shame to Islam. The lawyer starts saying the teachings of the Quran are about peace, not violence. He continues soapboxing while epic American music is playing during his monologue. He ends by saying this is religious tolerance, and Rashid rolls his eyes. Rashid admits to bringing a nuclear device into the country, and when he's won his holy war, he's gonna have traitors like him dragged through the streets. The lawyer rebuttals by saying that'll be difficult to do from death row. Then he gets up to leave. Rashid stops him and says he swears by Allah he doesn't know where the device is. He claims he needs to make a televised public statement to reach the men who have it. Then he says something in a language I don't understand. So is this guy supposed to be Arab, Irani, Afghani? It's confusing me. If you know what language they're speaking, let me know in the comments. The lawyer responds back in the same language, and then the Arab sounding gets extremely loud and an eagle with the cheap sounding eagle sound effect. This is pure cheese whiz. They start playing the cringiest song with the cringiest lyrics, and we get a scene between Deke and Quay fighting with beautiful looking slow-mo. Some of the moves they're doing are kind of impressive. Back to the president. They're reviewing Rashid's speech that he wants to air on TV. Can someone explain why this is a good idea? They're going to allow the world's biggest terrorist to air a speech on television? Does anybody have brain cells? Abir and Ali watch the speech, and magically, Ali understands the coded message that he wants them to move the bomb from Chicago to the place where they're conveniently filming the movie, Dallas, Texas, then set it off. Cut to Chuck Norris, and because he read the script, he too understands Rashid's coded message.
Close to my heart.
Fires the bomb, and he wants the bomb moved closer to his heart.
Dallas.
Exactly.
America would have defeated the Nazis so much faster if they had Chuck Norris solving the Enigma machine. This is a legendarily lazy deus ex machina. After a boring scene between the president and his wife, where he literally tells her the confidential secret, you know, the same secrets earlier he couldn't share with the CIA director, then we go back to the Chicago Museum where Chuck is questioning the museum curator. The curator mentions a scar on a guy that he saw, and Norris knows exactly who it is, Abir Rashid. They find out the plutonium sticks were transported in the Buddhist statues by using a Geiger counter. On to Dallas at an oil refinery. The bad guys are programming a bomb. Ali and Abir get into a heated discussion, and Abir says he has to go rescue his father. Maz Jobrani's Oscar-worthy acting skills amaze me, letting his American accent slip through.
Rescue him? When did that become an option?
Then we get more boring intel scenes. What's with Chuck Norris movies and showing us so many gearing up, setup, strategy, and intel scenes? It's so boring. The bad guys use a van decoy to trick the FBI into raiding a shed. Chuck Norris looks like an idiot for not knowing this Looney Tunes trick. But it was a pointless scene anyway because they're just trying to pad the running time to get it up to an hour and 30 minutes. They watch helicopter footage and find out the van stopped under an overpass and the bomb was transferred to an oil truck. They look up the name on the oil truck, and it's owned by an American born in Saudi Arabia who funded the Taliban during the Afghanistan war against the Soviets. Want to know who else funded the Taliban during that time? The United States. Back to the oil tanker, and Abir says Faisal. But wait, wasn't his character's name Ali? Okay, I looked it up and his name is Ali Faisal. Did he call him that earlier? I don't remember. Weird to start calling him by his last name like that. Abir tells him the plan, and now they're getting annoying with the because they're constantly doing it. Ali arms the bomb and Abir leaves. Back to the good guys and they're getting ready. Norris tells Quay she needs to be nice to Deke because he's a pretty special guy. Deke misogynistically asks for a little kiss before he goes. Refinery action time. We start off with Mr. Chuck Norris doing a superhero-like leap over the fence. Then Deke one-ups him by adding a somersault to his jump. I'm just wondering whose idea it was to install a trampoline outside the fence. Norris tells Deke to take the guards out while he finds the bomb. Norris is just slowly walking around what seems to be a completely deserted oil refinery plant. You'd think they'd have more guards. An hour and 15 minutes into this movie and we finally have Norris fighting. It's just like the Delta Force. It took an hour and 20 minutes for Norris to do any action. Deke takes out some more guards and some of these moves are actually cool looking. And I guess the guards just conveniently drop their weapons before attacking him. Norris slowly walks around a corner. He runs up some machinery and oh my goodness, wow. He jumps into the air, somersaults, and without looking, shoots a gun not once, but twice in the air. Then lands and shoots him a third time. Wow, they must have been watching The Matrix before shooting this film and thought, how can we get Norris doing something just as cool? It's kind of cool, but also really silly. Ali is clicking away, then Norris comes in and Ali speeds up the timer. Then instead of shooting the guy, Norris runs up to him and throws him to the side, telling him to get out of there. What if the guy had a gun, Norris? Oh yeah. He knew he didn't have a gun because he read the script. Norris turns the key, but it doesn't stop the timer. He sits down and starts clacking away at the keyboard. Does he have any idea what he's doing? Does he know how it's programmed? If there's a password, if there's a key you press that'll instantly detonate it like a trap? What he's doing is incredibly dumb and dangerous. Cut to Deke finding a bad guy and the gong is back. These guys are in America doing a terrorist attack. Why in the world are they still in Afghani style clothing? Wouldn't you want to try to blend in so you don't raise suspicion, you know, a disguise? But obviously they're keeping them in those clothes because they want to make it clear they're beating up the evil foreigners that dress differently to Americans. Ali shows back up, but this time with a gun, and Norris has enough time to pull out his gun and shoot him before he barely walks into the door. He's got the script on his lap. Him typing on the keyboard isn't working, so Norris whips out his all-American Milwaukee power screwdriver. I don't know why I find this so funny. Him power screwdriving the screws. Deke's fighting more baddies when one of them throws a knife at him, and I kid you not, he grabs the knife in mid-air and throws it straight back at him. Another bad guy pulls a gun out and Deke ducks the bullet. Oh my goodness. All the shirtless ball dodging training was for this moment. It gave him the ability to duck under bullets. It all makes sense. One of the bullets ignites flames and the bad guy catches on fire. Then Deke kicks him. Norris pulls out an alligator clip, connects it to something, then starts unscrewing a wire harness with 1 minute to go. He cuts a wire that stops the timer with 47 seconds left to go. Phew. But there was a failsafe and the bomb reactivates. Deke runs in and tells Norris he has to disarm it from the inside. Okay, what does that mean? Norris starts typing away at the keyboard, which opens the top of the bomb, and he starts clipping wires. How in the world does Norris know how this thing is programmed and what the wire colors mean? And with 1 second left, he disarms the bomb. Woo! We cut to a street in Dallas, Texas. The cars holding Rashid are stopping, and one guy pulls out a bazooka, then blows up one of the cars. We literally see the rocket barreling towards the car. That looks cool. They cut to Rashid and wow, does this look like the reaction to a bazooka explosion going off? He's reacting like he found an Oreo with no cream on the biscuit. Another bad guy with a bazooka fires, but this time it just cuts to a car they rigged to explode. No flying rocket shot. Again, Rashid turns around and he's like, oh, yeah. An explosion. Abir jumps out and starts gunning down the officers, then uncuffs his father. But Deke and Norris show up to kick some baddie booty. Norris is walking slower than a senior about to go play bingo at the old people's home. Deke jumps over a flaming car and mid-jump with 2 guns shoots the bad guys. Norris jumps Rashid and it goes slow-mo when he goes up with a cheesy sound effect. Then a mildly entertaining fight scene starts. Deke does this crazy move where he throws a beer over his shoulder and into the wall. All in slow-mo, of course. Rashid tells Norris the nuclear bomb is going off soon. Norris says sorry, it's been disarmed. Rashid goes for a gun and Norris kicks him so hard it makes Rashid turn into a Beyblade. Both father and son have been defeated by spinning. It's so cheesy. Then they tie them up to a tree and it looks so dumb. The camera spins around and zooms in on the flying American flag so they can breathe in the air of pure patriotism. Norris and Deke are playing chess, and this is a callback to when Rashid was playing chess with a soldier. Norris checks Deke and says it's because he thinks more than 3 moves ahead, unlike Deke. And unlike Rashid, smart. The president calls Quay and says he's got another mission in Kalimaika. This is so they can end the movie by showing the stock footage they licensed of the F-117 Nighthawk stealth bomber flying over snowy mountains. And the movie ends. You know what? The movie's bad, but I don't hate it. It's deeply problematic. It cashes in on the September 11 attacks to nudge audiences towards supporting the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. It leans hard into fear, demonizing Islam and recycling the tired narrative that evil Muslims are out to nuke America, that terrorists are planting nuclear bombs in America if you don't get to them first. It's fear-mongering and it isn't subtle about it. But it's not completely brain dead either. There are flashes of restraint. Chuck Norris gives a monologue clarifying it's not all Muslims. The villains are at least given motives, even if they're simplified to the point of parody. And yes, it touches on real-world fears like Osama bin Laden pursuing nuclear capability. So it's not pure fiction. I see it as elective truth shaped for effect. That's what makes it sharper than something like the Delta Force. It's not full-blown propaganda. It's more like propaganda with a conscience, or at least the appearance of one. There's some nuance here, even if it's buried under a lot of noise. You can understand the American perspective without the film turning into a full-on revenge fantasy. Is it a good movie? No, but it's not terrible. Some scenes drag, there's too many location jumps, we get lots of boring intel and setup scenes that pad the runtime. You can feel the budget cuts in real time, but then it randomly snaps into something fun, campy, ridiculous, almost self-aware. There's tonal whiplashes, but the highs are entertaining enough to carry you through the lows. It's not a disaster, mostly because the cheese is so thick it's hard to take any of it seriously. It has a 54% on Rotten Tomatoes and yeah, that feels right.